Let's head straight to the papers now. And joining me to discuss this is lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun, as well as another lawyer. We have Atunji Abdulhamid. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, to the papers now. We begin with the leadership newspaper. Parliamentary workers shut down state assemblies. And quickly we move to the Nation newspaper. Ex-military chief troops lack proper arms to fight soldiers battling Boko Haram in Hilux vans with outdated guns. That story on the front page of the Nation newspaper. And to the Punch newspaper now. Autumn visits Buhari. Governor says 2023 polls under threat. Stop inflammatory statements. Benue governor advises Nigerians. You find details of that story on the front page of the Punch newspaper. And to the Vanguard, Southwest frustration driving cause for cessation. Fayemi will be looking at that story shortly. And to the Daily Sun now, Army declares war on Igboho Kanu. The Kubo targets cessation promoters. And finally, the front page of the Guardian, Finance Ministry, CBN denies move to liberalize forex markets. Gentlemen, quickly, let's look at this story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, where the governor, Fayemi, is saying that it is frustration that is driving cause for cessation. And this cause for cessation has been growing in recent times, which is generating concerns for a lot of persons. And Fayemi reacting is saying that it is born out of frustration, which is, he says, is expected as a result of the stress and laxity in the society. I wonder if that's how you see it, Tunji.
Yeah, I want to agree with him. The frustration caused by a lot of factors, such as lack of good governance, inequality, injustice, lack of provision of adequate welfare for the people, and insecurity in the country. So these all combined together gave amount to frustration from the people in terms of looking at the way the government is being run. You see, we have a country today where we are divided in terms of religion, ethnicity, and everything. And things are not being done. Despite all these division, all these arguments, all these points being raised regarding division or regarding certain people being marginalized, certain people being there was no change in the way and manner is being the program is being run again. We are here today because we are not doing the right thing. That's just true. Those in government today are not doing the right thing. The welfare, which is the major responsibility of the government, the security, which is the major responsibility of the government, see the way they are. You hear every day. There is no way you open. There is no day you open one page of the newspaper that you not hear about insecurity. You not hear about people not being. So I want to agree with him that look, there's a lot of frustration on the land. There is a lot of frustration on the land, and this is caused by factor of lack of good governance. That is just a simple thing. If we have good governance and people in government are acting as though they are there to serve people, this will not happen. They were not acting as if they were there to serve people. Even the government that is talking is also part of it's been part of the system for long. So they were all part of of our problems.
All right. Let's get Jide Ologun's perspective to this issue now, cause for cessation. And you would the president always harping on the fact that our unity is non-negotiable. And one wonders why it is so difficult to manage our diversity, despite the fact that we keep saying that our unity is not a thing to be negotiated.
You know, it's a statement that probably should have been more researched. You know, under what context? Maybe within the Nigerian context. The UAE is the United Arab Emirates. I mean, the First Lady just came back there. There's security, there is top flight welfare for the citizens, and it's a rapidly advancing country. And I don't think Singapore will claim not to have some diversity within the system, and it's about the best place to live and to work in the world. And I believe that perhaps one of the concerns may be the area of fear that if we go, because if you look at this call for secession, those who are saying we can go are saying, okay, we can manage our resources, we can provide security if allowed. And the party who probably believes that no, we must retain you, may be the ones that are weak in this call. And talking about the frustration is a function of expectation. If you go to section 16 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it stipulates how the economy should be managed to provide maximum welfare for the citizens, care of the old, affordable and available housing, food, even maximum happiness and for the citizens. But are we having that? And if you look at all the sectors of our national life, for example, there is a report now by a top retired army brass saying that lack of equipment is causing the frontline achievement of the Boko Haram. He even went as much as saying that 90% of the vehicles used by Boko Haram and equipment were seized from the Nigerian military. I think it's an insult on our nation if we have degenerated so low that terrorists are now overrunning the system. For example, if you want to go into deep analysis, it is as if the police system has been paralyzed by the activities of bandits and terrorists. And the military that should be concerned about protecting the territorial integrity of the country are now battling to ensure security within the system, internal security. Yeah. And they are complaining. So where lies the fulfillment of the constitutional mandate in section 14 subsection 2? 1999 Constitution has amended that says that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. So, and you can see that all across the country that people are saying, no, we cannot continue like this. But there is a solution. The governors should not just come and tell us that 2023 may not be, or that frustration is causing people to ask for secession. The governors have influence over the members of the National Assembly. We have 109 senators and 360 House of Rest members. Can you recall them? Recall the ministers from your state. Let's sit down. Let's ask this simple question. It's good we are discussing it now. Now some are saying we don't want war. And I'm asking Nigerians, please, what is going on in Nigeria? How else will you describe it? There is a news item now that the inflation of food may rise up to 30%. What is the unemployment rate? Nigeria is the capital of poverty. Look at the free flow of banditry, kidnappings, killings. We are even negotiating with bandits, even when we claim not to negotiate with bandits. Are we saying we are clamping down on them? So everything is in disarray, and I want to anchor it on an argument which is unavoidable. I say it's social in the past. For Nigerians, when you have a family party, you pull resources together, you have a common purse, and you have a common catering point to cater for everybody. But when some members of the family, we now decide to over-pamper their own guests and ignore the guests of other members of the family, then we came up with a new template, a new normal, where even though you have a central purse, you must have your own canopy. Absolutely. Prepare your own special food and drink so that you don't get embarrassed. Can we enjoy Nigeria as a national body? And that is the big question. God has over-resourced this country. And even at the agrarian level, we are dancing around like the blind. Because if you look at industrialization, there are about 7 elements that must be present, and we have them all in Nigeria. Right. You talk of the land and the resources, you talk about labor, you talk about even consumption. About 200 million population. You talk about technology. Technology is available. You talk about connections. We are connected to China, connected to some countries of the world. You talk about government policy. I think that is where we have it wrong. Today there is a report that we have clogs at the ports. Yes. You can go and study the port management of Singapore, of Los Angeles, of Hong Kong, and see how they are creating wealth. So I think what we are going through in Nigeria may be deliberate for now. But I like to close by saying also
Deliberate. You will need to expatiate on this deliberateness that you think it is, because we cannot just leave it hanging. Some Nigerians might be wondering, why do you think it's deliberate?
Deliberate in the sense that you know your problems, you know the solutions, and you are not going for the solutions. The man who now came out with the report that we are ill-equipped, that the military is ill-equipped to face the Boko Haram, said that we can go for gunships that can even operate at night, that you don't use all these soft-skin vehicles. You don't go in hillocks to go and confront those who probably are operating with mine-resistant armed personnel carriers. You see, we have read reports how they mount guns on their vehicles. Are they ghosts? No. Sheikh Gumi showed us a profile of highly equipped terrorists with sophisticated weapons. How do they get these weapons? Have you queried the immigration? Have you queried the customs? So, I mean, and that's why I say it is deliberate, because when you look at what has happened in Nigeria, Nigerians have gone to vote to give you the authority to enhance the fortunes of the nation. The salaries are paid. The excess crude account of this country was depleted at the time. Now, the NSA is telling us that the money released for equiping the military, it's not, they cannot find it, though the report is being denied. And we are these people who should answer. They are already non-career ambassadors. So when you put all this together, if I were to be in a classroom, perhaps I'm back to the law department at university, I may come to a conclusion that what we have here is deliberate, in the sense that when you have authority, you are either to prevent insecurity of this magnitude, right, all right, or you choose to condone. And the perspective, the perception the world is having concerning Nigeria is that we are condoning this high level of insecurity. So that's my submission this morning.
Right, let's bring the conversation to you, Tunji, the deliberateness, which he has tried to explain to us, which some other persons have questioned. The fact that we see the legislature, these people represent almost every part of the country who are feeling the pinch of this issue of insecurity, yet we are not hearing much with regards to perhaps making amendment to certain issues that could, you know, drive the aspect of bringing solutions to fighting insecurity. We are not hearing them pushing perhaps for amendments to the Constitution with regards to restructuring, devolution of power, ensuring that there is perhaps community policing, which a lot of people are calling for. The governors, they understand what this situation is, but we are not seeing them working in tandem with perhaps the legislators who are from their states to addressing these issues. Are you also on the side of perhaps this is deliberate, we knowing what to do and not doing it?
Yeah, it is. It is a deliberate attempt to further frustrate us, just like our governor said. You see, I don't want the issue of the National Assembly not doing their job is very glaring. That from this day one, that they will not do their job. Apparently, the leadership of the Senate President of the National Assembly did not appreciate their role, because I remember our Senate President saying whatever the President brings to them, whether they without looking at it, to be approved.
But they have said that they are not a rubber stamp.
What does it mean? I've not called them rubber stamp. Right. I just said, they said whatever the president brings to them.
Translated to?
I don't, it is your language.
Right.
Whether they are rubber stamp or not, I didn't say that. What I know is that he said that whatever the president brings to them, they without even looking at it, to be approved. He also said again, just yesterday or so, that the president cannot be impeached because of the circumstances of the country. You see, we have allowed partisan politics to override our role. The National Assembly has not been playing its role, particularly this particular Ninth Assembly. They've been using party affiliation. I was thinking that because they are of the same party, thing will be rosy and then the thing will be done properly. But you see, the fact that you are in the same party does not mean you must not. The role of the National Assembly is to checkmate the executive. But what we see today is that the National Assembly are like they are sub part of the executive. They are just working as if they are one. In fact, I don't even know that we have a Senate president, because I don't see him interact much on national issues. I don't see him talk much on national issues. Compared to 8th Assembly, when we have the Senate president, the former Senate president, Saraki, you see the people can now see the difference between what they call the leader. You see, and Nigeria, that is what when those who will be doing the job the way it should be done, they see them as obstacle. But those who will not do it will still complain. That's why you see sometimes we know what we're doing, and those in politics, they know what they're doing. The more they frustrate us, the more they enjoy what they are doing, and that frustration is what makes some people not to participate in politics. They say politics is for what they call it. It's for the thug, or it's dirty, and for people. So they believe, they want you to see that way, so that they will be enjoying and that's why I want to agree that most of the things sometimes are deliberate, so that they will frustrate you, so that you'll be out of it, and then they will enjoy what they're trying to do. As long as we don't have national interest at heart. As long as what we have at heart is party interest. Because most time when they talk about our party says, our party. It should be once. But
insecurity has no. It's not a party thing. It knows no party. It knows no color. It knows no tribe. So why do we have to politicize things?
Because that's what we are Nigerians. That is where our politicians operate. They believe once you are in government or whatever, you must side your party, whether right or wrong. And that's why we are where today. When they see things, as a member of the National Assembly, you are supposed to be challenging the executive, not to be aligned. I'm not saying you should be fighting them,
right?
But not to say whatever they bring is accepted, whatever they say is accepted. No, your role is to checkmate them. Is to ensure that things are done the way it should be done. So to ensure that the budget approved is spent the way is enforced or is done.
The interest of the people.
It should be paramount, not our party, not I have to protect our party. Our party has said the national, all those issues. That is why we are not moving forward until we jettison this issue of party affiliation, ethnic affiliation, religious affiliation, and we now see ourselves as Nigeria. And then in our mind, we now be Nigeria. That's where we move forward.
What will it take to get to that point where we see ourselves first as Nigerians and not the party you belong, the ethnicity, where you come from, whatever it is, the differences that we seem to want to keep pushing?
A deliberate decision. The Chinese say the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. I've made references here. Go and study what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore. The man decided to promote national prosperity, the interest of the people, and he worked towards it. He studied the templates of the world. They improved on it. So whether you are talking about climate change or whatever, that nation is very robust in terms of national development today. And it rolled out in 1965 as an almost frustrated coastal region. All right, but the leadership decided that no, we must move from being a third world to being a first world, which has been achieved. And interestingly, this leader is late, but he is celebrated. And let's come back to the UAE, for instance, the United Arab Emirates. You see what was done in Dubai. Dubai was turned through infrastructural empowerment to a wealth region. There are two levels of wealth creation: the wealth you create yourself and the wealth you attract into your region. So they started by creating wealth with their resources, and they have been attracting wealth into that region. And Dubai, the UAE is secured. All communities have their challenges, but not the rudimentary challenges we are dealing with. And when you want to talk about industrialization, China, which appears like a friend of Nigeria, is already exploring Mars. They've gone far ahead in production, industrialization. Can they not help us? Who will be hurt if there's electricity in Nigeria? Do you know that right now, Niger Republic has perfected electricity? They may not need your electricity again. Niger Republic has a refinery that produces about 20,000 barrels per day, and they only need 5,000 barrels. And Nigeria will buy the outstanding 10,000 barrels per day. At what cost? What is the cost of PMS at the pump level now? So what is the price of naira to dollar? So we are stifling our own economy at the expense of who? We are creating and grooming poverty. And you know poverty is the conveyor belt of insecurity. We have been asking, who are those who imported drugs into this country, imported guns into this country, imported military camouflage? Recently, we were told that the government may not be able to go after the bandits because they wear military uniform. I mean, these things do not add up. So decide that prosperity is better than poverty, and that the plan of God for man is prosperity. He says in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, he blessed them. He says, be fruitful, multiply, have dominion.
Replenish
so can we claim now, and I've told Nigerians, please give me 5 minutes of your time today. Google the Nigerian Constitution, read from section 14 to section 17,
right,
and come to conclusion. But I believe, like I mentioned now, that when we decide that the light should shine in this country, the resources are still there. We have the largest deposit of proven gas in Africa. Why do we use firewood? What has happened to our oil and gas? Planning to spend $1.5 billion to turn around moribund refineries, when you can build modular refineries to maintain and turn your country to attract foreign direct investments.
All right, we have
it's about deliberate decision.
Right.
If you are on the wrong journey, you turn back.
Moving forward, that government will make that deliberate decision to turn things around. We'll leave the conversation here now. Lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun, as well as another lawyer, Tunji Abdulhamid. Gentlemen, thank you so much.